Jake, for those that did not experience the glory of the Alumni flag football game and everything that went on in that broadcast, what did they miss?
So much. It was unbelievable. It was so sick to be able. I remember when Brett asked me, he's like, "Hey, would you be down to do some sideline interview style?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. Well, that'd be fun to hang out with the guys and just spew a bunch of crap at them and get them going and stuff like that." It was so fun. I mean, I love Blaine. Shout out Blaine, man. Messing with him is always fun. He's such a great dude. Just a dude who took me in from the beginning, being a quarterback, at BYU in the past, and being a guy who's around the program in the media space, stuff like that. Be able to, get to have a good connection with him I definitely cashed in on that on Friday. Got to go at him a little bit, but it was so fun. The energy was incredible. The guys were so fun to be around. Just all those guys coming back here. I said at the end, I was like, wish we did this twice a year because it's fun. Those guys, the energy they bring, it's exciting, and to talk about them and to know the lore behind a lot of those guys' career and just watch them ball out. Some of them from the recent days, and they're still jumping out of the roof, and then some of them from the older days, and they're throwing the ball maybe not as well as they used to. But
what's it like to, with an unfiltered aspect, critique other quarterback play?
With the Alumni game, it's all love. So I'll get on them a little bit, and they'll fire right back. But it's just the positive vibe to the whole thing, make it so fun to get on guys and stuff like that. And when it comes to real quarterback play, man, it's hard. And so and they know it's hard. And I like to be able to kind of mock the fans in a way. This is what they say about quarterbacks, and whether they know it or not, it's a little bit of a mockery of the fans.
You mentioned the energy around that game and around the entire BYU football program right now. How would you explain what is happening there?
It's incredible. Just the pursuit of greatness and the way that we go about it is different. I've had the opportunity to invite a bunch of people into this building, and it was actually a Jewish group from Israel, live in Israel, and I just talked about our culture. I was like, yeah, it's hard to explain to people. It's like, yeah, we're actually a lot different than most other places in the country. We do it 100% different, and that's why we do it well. And so the buy-in from the guys is the key thing, and getting to know your guys, getting that true leadership from the top down, being able to, get mentored by a guy like Coach Kalani and Coach A-Rod, and then be able to take the pieces and the bits of knowledge and try to relay that to our guys, along the team. As a quarterback, I'm obviously a leader of the offense, and so to be able to relay the messages that A-Rod's relaying to me, it's just to be so synonymous with each other, it's just special. It's so special, and to be able to see that translate to play on the field is so rewarding. It's so fun.
Where did BYU get better over the course of spring football, in your opinion?
Where didn't it get better, honestly? It was super fun to see. Now, unfortunately, we had a couple injuries at receiver, but it's fun to see those young guys hey, this is your opportunity today. You're going to get reps with the ones where you might not have if, Chase and these guys are also healthy. And so to be able to watch those guys step up, I mean, offensive line was another position where, Wayland's not going this spring, Andrew Gentry's not going this spring, some other guys getting banged up here and there. It's like, all right, who's next? Step up. And so it's super fun to see these young guys come into their own and start playing with that confidence. And I love getting with them and talking about what we're doing on each play and over communicating with them and being able to see that they get it. You know what I mean? When a guy on the field, his demeanor and the way he's looking, if he gets it. And so it's fun to see those young guys start to get it and be able to encourage those guys to keep developing and watch it happen up front. And Coach TJ Woods has just put his fingerprints all over that O-line from the very top to the very bottom, from making Bruce, a heck of a center in 1 year, doing it in the second year, and also with a young freshman coming in like Andrew Williams, who was taking reps with the ones.
Yeah, let's talk about that offensive line because there was some understandable concern about losing some big pieces. So how do you feel about the state of the offensive line overall?
Well, I mean, Bruce is obviously running it up there in the middle. He's been extraordinary the way he's just – it was cool to watch Connor kind of teach him when Connor got hurt, to teach him the mental side of the game, the ins and outs of the mental side. That's what Connor was really good at. And so to be able to teach Bruce all that, and now Bruce takes that to the next level. His level of understanding of what's going on is awesome. Me and him watched film a bunch this spring together after practice. We'd go up and watch it before we went home. And so be able to see his understandings of the whole thing just take off. Wayland leads no matter what, if he's on the field or off. And so to watch him, he's so hyper involved with practice no matter what. He can't help it. Wayland's one of those guys that just has an itch for this game of football like me, and so it's fun to see him teaching the other guys what's going on in the field and itching. I was like, it was the last week of practice. I was like, Waylon, what do you say you just throw it on, throw the pads on for Friday? He's like, I'll do it right now. I'll do it. And I'm like, I don't doubt that he'll do it, and thankfully he didn't. But the guys like that and just teaching, and Isaiah Jada is taking big steps, and he's one of the smartest linemen I've ever played with. I've never I don't think I've seen a guy get it as fast as Jada got it. I think him and Bruce were the two fastest I've ever seen really understand what's going on, because Bruce in 1 year was starting at O-line for injuries, and Jada started or played late in the year, right? Started games late in the year after that Utah game. And so it's super fun to see all these guys develop, man. It's just, I love watching the growth and the unity in the guys, and I'm excited for this summer and fall camp to get that starting O-line on the field, because we don't know who it is right now, but that's also because of the injuries. So the battle hasn't necessarily happened, but wherever you pencil it, the starting group hasn't been on the field together, especially because Waylon has been out, and so it's gonna be fun to see that final group together and watch how they roll.
What has you most excited about next year's BYU offense?
It's just another year of continuity. You know what I mean? It's Coach Wood's second year, Coach Gilbride's second year, and so just all these guys being secure in their spots and not, head spinning, trying to figure the offense out, as well as the guys that are teaching the offense to. You know what I mean? It's knowing it. The continuity is just such a big deal because of the belief in each other and the way your team now. Like, the team more, and the more you know something, the more you can believe in it, the more you can trust it, and the more you can teach it, and the more you can address it. And so to be able to have that ownership where every single coach in this offense has ownership of their guys, ownership of this offense. And so we take pride in when it's going good, and we take pride in being able to fix problems and move on. And so just that's going to be super fun. I think that, I get the continuity of coming back as a starter. You know what I mean? This is my first time in offseason not competing for a starting job. And so, I've tried to, I still got to have the foot up my backside with Coach A-Rod and Coach Matt. They know how to level that thing in there. But at the same time, like, it's good to be taking all the 1 reps with Bruce and be able to keep that continuity right with the receivers and whatnot. And I can't wait to get, Chase coming off of injury. And like I said, AG coming off injury, Waylon coming off injury, like all these guys coming off, like, to get healthy for this, summer. And I'll tell you what, it'd be nice to have a little bit of a break. We had 1 week off after the bowl game before we had to be back, but it'd be nice to have this little break and, maybe hang out with the guys and just get it all together. But there's not much new faces, and if there is, those new faces are well-matured guys, well-seasoned. A guy like Andrew Gentry, who's seen a lot of football in his day. Kyle, who's seen a lot of football in his day, Svarchik. And so it's cool to have these guys in the building who have seen it all. And I'm just talking about O-line, but every position. I mean, our running back room is, I can confidently say our running back room is the top running back room in the country. Just the depth and the way these guys play ball is unbelievable. Their understanding of it, to be able to, like, put multiple of those guys in the game, go 20 personnel. We went 30 personnel once or twice last year, and so we can do that, and it's super fun to see. And I could just name them all, but I'd take up too much of your time.
I love the breakdown right there, and excited to see what the running backs can do. Speaking of your summer, now that you do get a little bit of a break, what is in the future for you over the next 3 or 4 months?
Yeah, well, as you guys know, I'll be headed down to California. Right when the semester ends, I'll be down in California for 2 weeks. I'll actually come up the middle of the first week to walk for graduation, so that's exciting. But then I'll be back home for those weeks training with John Beck and getting the guys, and we're going to do something similar, hopefully get a bunch of the receivers and possibly tight ends down to California and train together down there for a couple weeks. And then the big deal that's going on right now for me is I'm taking the offseason captains. We have an opportunity to go to see Israel for a week this offseason in the middle of May. So I'm super excited for that. It's going to be I've been buzzing about that experience as soon as it, kind of crossed my mind, and I can't believe it's actually happening. And so I'm so excited for that trip. And then that trip will be the last of my off break, and it'll be like, all right, let's go. And now we're in the off-season training aspect, and it'll be, summer workouts, obviously, PRPs, and then that'll lead us into camp and stuff. So, I'm trying to, I'll do my best. One thing that I learned at a young age in high school, and that it's kind of echoed here, is like after a spring camp is go take 2 weeks, don't touch a football. Like, continue to work out. I'll still be lifting and running and stuff like that, but I won't touch football for a couple weeks, get my finals done, and then I'll obviously pick it up for 2 weeks straight with John Beck down in Southern California, which I'm excited for. I always love working with him, and his team out there is legit, obviously. I mean, I don't have to say much. It's in the pudding. So, yeah, it's exciting. This new step, you know what I mean? And like I said, it is a little bit nice to breathe a little bit. We had, in December was all Alamo Bowl prep. Then it was 1 week I got to go home for. So I took half a breath and then come back for winter workouts. So it'll be nice to have some time.
Congratulations on graduating and walking, and well-deserved vacation and experience in Israel awaits you. I do want to go back to something you said a few weeks ago when it was talking about things that BYU is trying to prove. What is it that the angle that you have taken this year that BYU is trying to prove? Because last year it was, hey, we were 5-7, we're going to shock everyone. Well, you're not sneaking up on anybody this year. So what is it that you're trying to prove this year?
Yeah. So, I mean, well, when you say prove, I hear like we prove things to ourselves. You know what I mean? We don't prove things to anybody else, because what anybody else thinks or says doesn't actually matter about what goes on in this building. So what we're proving to ourselves is that we're a dominant football team and that we're a top football team in the country. It's like I think our highest ranking last year was 6. When we got up to 6, we were still fraudulent and we were still a little, pissed about it. And so like we got to keep that same chip, and it's a big deal for these young guys to learn. Like, hey, it's not all sweet, man. I know you're used to coming off an 11-2 season, not a 5-7 like we did a year ago. And so it's really cool to see the older guys and the veterans, like, me, Chase, Waylon, Keelan, like all these guys on the offensive side of the ball I'm talking is like, we know what that feels like to go 5-7, so we're not going to let things slip. And to have some new leadership has been super fun too. I mean, guys like Keanu Tanavasa, just a natural-born leader. The guy was almost an off-season captain, even though he technically wasn't eligible to be, which was unbelievable, and that was all voted on by the team. And so super cool to see his impact. You guys got to talk to him in the Alumni game. I wish I could have said more about Keanu. Obviously, I was on the sideline doing the game, but I wish I could say more about that guy. He's been unbelievable. That veteran leadership and his buddy from up north, Carson Ryan, has been unbelievable too. So, having those veteran guys who know what it feels like to come off of a bad year to get into a good year, we got to be able to carry that same mindset to keep the good rolling, because it's not all sweet when you're 5-7. Let me tell you.
You know it better than most, no question. We'll finish with this. Other than Jake Retzlaff, who's the spring football MVP at BYU?
Oh man, that's a great question. Spring football MVP. We've had a lot of guys show up and make differences. I'd say I could go by position, but I'd probably say Carson Ryan. And I'm talking offensive side of the ball here. Carson Ryan, defensive side of the ball. There's a list of them. Those guys. Jack Kelly's been making plays, and obviously being a new face, Keanu Tanavasa is also up there too. But I'd say if there's guys that really stood out this spring, it's those 3 guys. Obviously, those 2 being new faces, it was like, okay, what do they really got? And so eyes are on them, and we want to see how they produce. But to be able to see another offseason Jack Kelly's having, like he's the only guy who picked me off all spring. Unfortunately, I threw one. Unlike last year, I didn't throw him, but this year I threw one, and it was to Jack Kelly, and it's unbelievable. The guy's like making play. Like there's one play, Jack Kelly's dropping to like the deep third, and I'm just like, what is he doing there right now? Why is he covering that spot? But Jack's unbelievable. His instincts, his mind for the game puts him in positions to succeed. It's not about his physical abilities are off the charts. We all know that, but his mental abilities put him in the positions to succeed. So it's super fun to go against him in practice. And I think it was like the next week he had something bugging, so he didn't go in team. And I was like, oh, thank God, I'm not gonna throw a pick this week. But Jack's awesome. But same with those other 2 guys I mentioned, Carson and Keanu. Those guys are studs.
Great stuff. Future sideline reporter Jake Retzlaff, ladies and gentlemen.
You know it.